I'm Luke. I'm the singer.
I'm Matt. I play guitar.
And there's three others that aren't here.
Not four others.
Not four others?
No. Three others. There's Tony on bass, who you know. And there is Joe, who has just joined on drums. Little lad. Brilliant drummer. Brings the average age down, which is very nice. And there's, what's the other one? It's Chris, isn't it? Chris. I'm kidding. Of course, there's Chris. You cannot forget Chris, the loudest person on the planet, on guitar as well. Musically, it's a mixture of like 70s classic kind of songwriting, riffs, whatever, with more of a modern sound, hopefully. So there's just a bit of a mixture of all that. So it's a bit of modern, it's a bit of an old school. That's what makes Voodoo 6, I think, isn't it? It is the sixth card of the Voodoo Tarot, and this is Legba, who is, he's not really the devil, but it's the devil that in the Robert Johnson myth where he goes down, or might not be a myth, when he goes to the crossroads, he sells his soul to the devil for fame and fortune and for music and for that whole kind of rock and roll thing, I guess. And everything in the blues came from this. In a way, like the first couple of years, it was like a project that Tony, came back from LA. He had this idea in his head of what kind of band that he wanted to put together, and it took him a while, I think, even to find like the initial first lineup. But that wasn't really what he wanted. I mean, the singer that we had at the time was not what he had in mind. And I think when Luke came along, I think the rest of us were maybe like, wow, this guy's very, very different from our first singer, but it was exactly what was right for the music, and it was exactly that was then the lineup.
Tony is the main composer, I'd say.
The instigator.
The leader. What do we call him? The GL.
The GL, the glorious leader.
The glorious leader, we call him. Yeah. But outside that, it's Tony, me, and Matt. We all come up with the ideas for the songs, And
there've been a couple. There's one on Fluke. Well, actually, there's a couple of things on Fluke that are old ideas from Luke's previous band that he never really had a chance to do anything with so much.
I think you can make a mistake if you try and fit to fashion, rock fashion, We just do what we do, and if people like it, that's great.
Even that Metallica thing where they decided we're not having guitar solos, and I mean that was just that kind of thing of chasing after whatever everyone else was doing. So again, I think because we've been doing it for a while in certain things. I mean, like again, Tony has a bit of a history in bands that you might be aware of, and so he knows what he does and he knows what he wants to do, and he's not going to suddenly start trying to do a kind of music that's not what he does, So I think we can't really do it any different than we do it, to be honest. We are what we are.
We are.
It's kind of weird that everything seems to take a lot longer nowadays with all the technology we have. Back in the day, people used to bang out 2 albums a year, didn't they? And now it's like everything just takes that little bit longer to get done. I mean, again, at the moment, we're kind of concentrating. It's that it's nice to get Fluke out in Europe, and we want to then promote that. So of course that's concentrating a little bit on what we did before, and then maybe in a couple of years we'll get the new album out in France. Then I'm kidding, of course. Hopefully it'll be out, later this year.
We are recording it in the same studio in was it Barnyard?
Yeah, Barnyard.
Barnyard,
Steve Harris.
Which is Steve's studio.
It's nice. I mean, it's not like some huge big flash studio. It's just really attached to his house, which is a very big house, obviously, but it's
actually perfect, isn't it, that it is, because it's like an old Tudor barn with spiders and cobwebs all over the place.
If you look at the
witches walking around and animals.
If you watch the video for Holy Smoke by Iron Maiden, that is that studio. So if you want to see what it looks like, check that out.
I haven't even finished writing the second verses of stuff.
It's probably going to start with an F, though, because we had Feed My Soul, then we had First Hit for Free, then we had Fluke, and then we've had Falling Knives. So I'm sure it'll start with an F, because that just seems to happen. And F is the 6th letter of the alphabet, so there you go.
Right, okay. This is all new to me too.
It just occurred to me the other day.
I don't think the albums are any better or any worse for putting 17, 20 tracks on an album. You're better off having 10 that you're really happy with, rather than, you know,
I think
overload.
Yeah, I think that's something that we all actually agree on. It's like, back in the day, you would buy an album, and if it's a great album, you know, you play it and you want to hear it again. You know, you put on the first Montrose album or Van Halen or whatever, 35 minutes later, you want to hear it again because it's great. But these albums that are just packing out a whole CD with 17 songs, how many times do you sit there and listen to what is basically a double album? There've not been that many great double albums in the world.
You know, the more gigs you can do in a year, the better. The morale with the band is, you know, and the better you become.
The whole music industry has changed and is changing, and it's now getting to the point where touring is most of the money you're ever going to make from it. It's not like in the past people can stick albums out and then perhaps go and tour it. It's definitely going to be soon, you know, it definitely will be here because it'd be great to do it. We've supported, you know, we did the Extreme tour all over Europe, and we've done some dates with UFO here, which was really nice. But it'd be great to come out here on the back of an album that's actually out here, you know, that people can like buy in the shops and stuff.
No, we're desperate to get over to Europe now. We've seen enough of England.
Yeah,
I think,
yeah,
haven't we?
Yeah, he does it whenever he can, and I'm sure there's some big football thing coming up that involves Maiden, and involves like a lot of press and stuff in Britain, which I'm sure you'll hear about at some point. But I think it's going to be quite a big thing. I remember him telling one story once of them playing, and Richie Blackmore turned up to play to play football, sorry, and he arrives in the big limo and gets out, and he's got these splints on his arms in case he falls over, and then when he gets a bit tired, he kind of does that, and someone else jumps out of the limo and takes his place on the pitch, so he can just go and sit and get warm again. But if you're Richie Blackmore, you can do that because you can do what you want.
Number of the Beast was like the first rock album that well, my mum bought it for me on cassette. So when I was about 10. So I'm a big Maiden fan now.
I really like the early stuff. I mean, as a kid, I really like the early stuff, and I kind of maybe lost touch with some of the albums over the years, but I love that. And when we did the gig with them at Hammersmith, that was the early years thing they were doing, which was the first 4 albums, and that for me was like the perfect Maiden gig. That was a great thing to be there to see that. That was brilliant.
Come and see us play, please.
Bonjour. Yeah, we'd just love to be out here playing. I mean, that'd be great, and it's just great to get this album out because we still like it just as much as when we did it. So it's wonderful to get it released, isn't it?
Yeah. We can't wait to get over and start playing.
Yeah,
that's what we want. We want to come over, do some shows.
You want me living with the shame, babe. You want me down about the one thing I can't break. I'll take the blame. You want me